In today's video, let's talk about movies. And not just any movies. Crafsman's going to show you my top 7 best quirky films you've never seen. When I saw Napoleon Dynamite in 2009, Jared Hess became one of my favorite directors. What honestly caught me off guard was how funny and relatable the movie was, without being vulgar.
Ding dong.
I'll go get it.
Jeez.
I can do an entire video about Jared Hess and his films. Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre, which is actually only one of 2 films that I enjoy with Jack Black in it. Masterminds, based on the Loomis Fargo heist. Don Verdeen, biblical archaeologist. But it's this Jared Hess movie that I feel is the most underappreciated. Gentleman Broncos tells the story of Benjamin Purvis, played by Michael Angarano, who, fun fact, was 3rd runner-up to play Anakin Skywalker.
Hi, I'm Michael Vernon, and I'm 8.5. I'm a pilot, you know.
I gotta get my ADHD under control for this video, y'all. My mind's gonna branch all over the place. Anyway, Benjamin writes sci-fi stories and is supported by his very frugal but well-meaning mother, played by Jennifer Coolidge.
Guess what? I heated up the hot water bottle so you can sit on it while we drive.
Benjamin attends a writer's camp to learn from his sci-fi author hero, Ronald Chevalier, hilariously portrayed by Jermaine Clement.
I'm assuming you love to write fantasy fiction. And the character names in your stories are suffering.
Ronald Chevalier is sort of a washed-up sci-fi writer pitching ideas that don't work.
Merv, wait. Moon fetus. A fetus is found on a moon base.
I'll talk to you later.
Which leads to a desperate act of story thievery. Every one of the characters in this movie are quirky or interesting or just outright funny.
What's wrong? These guys owe you some money?
I mean, just looking at Mike White, it makes me laugh. Here he's playing the character of Dusty.
I noticed you didn't have any friends, so I signed you up for the Guardian Angel program at church.
Who's that guy?
He's my angel.
Hector Jimenez, who plays Escolito in Nacho Libre, portrays the super awkward Lonnie Donahoe, a small-town filmmaker. Jared based Lonnie Donahoe partially on a real Utah filmmaker.
Ron.
Oh, Cyphers.
He was much more than a
If you want to
servant.
learn more about that, check out the documentary called Insufferable Brew. Benjamin has been working on a story called Yeast Lords, and we are treated to Benjamin's imagination of what the story looks like.
What the crap?
The hero in Benjamin's story is Bronco, played by the very talented Sam Rockwell. After one of his reproductive organs was stolen,
We had to borrow one of your gonads.
he delivers one of my favorite pieces of dialogue in the entire movie.
You know how weird that'd be? A bunch of gorgeous yeast lords with my face running around making dang fools of themselves.
The character of Bronco is clearly inspired by Benjamin's dad. But when Ronald Chevalier steals the story, he changes Bronco into Brutus, resulting in Sam Rockwell doing a completely different performance.
This is ridiculous. That's the most well-guarded yeast factory I've ever seen.
Kananka, show me your bag of secrets. What's all this crap? I thought you said he was good at making bombs and robots and stuff.
While Benjamin's story is being stolen and altered without his knowledge, he gives the film rights to Lonnie Donahoe, and we are treated to a 3rd variation of Benjamin's Yeast Lord story in lo-fi VHS.
Yeast Lord, the Bronco years. Come with me to my underground facilities.
The only profanity in the film is an abbreviated swear word by the main character. But just know, Jared Hess has got what I like to call Salt Lake sensibilities, okay? Them Utah, look, they may not cuss a lot, but if it's a chance to do something gross, they don't mess around.
Oh, my word. That's all right. Maybe I have some paper towel.
I did get a little concerned seeing Jared Hess was working on the Minecraft movie. I'm not too sure how that's gonna go. Hopefully he doesn't pull a Taika. Pulling a Taika is where you make some engaging and funny independent films, and then you get success with a studio film, and then you kind of go off the rails. I find that this movie is best enjoyed the second and third time. The first time, it might just kind of throw you off guard. But look, this movie is absolutely delightful. Highly recommend you give Gentlemen Broncos a watch.
I made us a time capsule. I put a buttload of keepsakes in it.
Speaking of Jared Hess, our next film was directed by a gentleman named Tim Skousen, who was first assistant director on Napoleon Dynamite. If you're a fan of that type of humor, you will most likely enjoy Sasquatch Gang. Formerly titled Sasquatch Dumpling Gang, this film weaves a couple of different stories together in a fun, out-of-sequence style. Our main character, Gavin, played by Jeremy Sumter,
You're right on time, gentlemen. I commend you.
is a likable teenager who runs his own at-home VHS rental business.
That'll be $3 and it's due bet next Tuesday.
And he does live-action role-playing with his buddies Maynard and Hobie.
Choose your weapons, gentlemen.
Hobie is played by Hubble Palmer, who has a writing credit in Masterminds and his own independent film called Humble Pie, which I also recommend. Our antagonists are the comedic duo of Zerk and Shirts, played by Justin Long
What the crap is this?
and Joey Kern.
Can't make this out of foam and duct tape.
Yeah, Zerk. Let's just get out of here.
When the movie first came out, people incorrectly compared Shirts to Kip from Napoleon Dynamite. But Tim Skousen was likely more inspired by the real-life Mike Shank from American Movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Zerk is faced with hard financial times, it leads to the duo brainstorming ways to make money. Eventually, they concoct a scheme to make a name for themselves.
You hear a bunch about folks finding footprints and crap, yeah? But you never hear about somebody finding a Sasquatch footprint and a Sasquatch turd.
And we are introduced to Sheriff Chilcutt, played by John Grimes,
What do you got?
a.k.a. Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
She-Ra, this is He-Man. Over.
The town calls in the expert Dr. Artemis Snodgrass, played by Carl Weathers. This is a role I don't think many people know Carl Weathers for, but I think Carl Weathers is his best when he plays these more zany type of characters.
I am Dr. Artemis Snodgrass, and welcome to the world of the Sasquatch.
And there's also a sweet little love story of Gavin and Sophie who connect over which fantasy movies they enjoy.
What about Dragon Slayer?
Ladyhawk?
The Dark Crystal?
Legend?
The Neverending Story?
That's when I realized it was a dude. What the crap is going on?
I think overall the character of Shirts is the one that makes me laugh the most in this film.
Why should I listen to you guys? I mean, that guy doesn't even have a shirt on.
Yeah, well, I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever it says, bounces.
Yeah, I got this, dude. Don't even try.
But every single one of these characters are just oozing with likability or just something about them that you find absolutely charming or intriguing. I highly recommend Sasquatch Gang.
I thought we lived in a place where the government can't screw you over.
I don't think the government is the one screwing you. Fire on the hole.
Whatever, man.
Our next film is a French animated feature. The first time I saw it, A Town Called Panic captivated me in a way I did not expect. Because we have these crude toy characters, minimalist animation. Feels like a childhood, like a fever dream or something. Our main heroes are cowboy, Indian, and horse. When Cowboy and Indian decide to surprise Horse for his birthday by building him a barbecue, a mistake in ordering bricks leads to disastrous consequences. And even a housing battle with some sneaky aquatic creatures.
On va régler ça.
A Town Called Panic is one of those films that's just high energy. It never lets up. It's nonstop something happening. The situations are so over the top and unbelievable that it forces you to just sit back and enjoy the insanity that unfolds. One of my favorite characters in the movie is the farmer. He just always is loud. He's just loud all the time. But he's got this wife that just loves him and cares for him. A really neat relationship in the story.
Oh, elle était délicieuse cette tarte.
As somewhat of a, at one time, aspiring animator, Town Call Panic inspired me tremendously. Why? Because there's no fancy shooting on singles. Every pose, they hold it for at least 2 frames, 3 frames. There's no lip sync. They use replacement style animation, and it's fairly crude. But the strong, humorous dialogue, the voice acting, and the situations, it's these things that keep you captivated. I highly recommend A Town Called Panic. Be sure to watch it in the original French with subtitles. Side jump. Also, the collection set, which has several episodes. As soon as I heard the 808 drum machine, I knew I was fixing to enjoy Ping-Pong Summer. Set in the summer of 1985, Ping-Pong Summer is a coming-of-age story featuring Radford Miracle, an awkward 13-year-old who's into hip-hop and ping-pong. To be a lower-budget film, there's a few bigger names involved in this, including Susan Sarandon, Leah Thompson, and John Hannah. The film really captures something that I think some people will find relatable, even if it wasn't your exact experience.
You can't wear a t-shirt and sneakers to the Paul Revere smorgasbord.
The film really takes what most would consider the mundane or the awkward, and it presents it in a charming, somehow endearing way.
We're counting down the hits, the 40 biggest.
During a family trip to Ocean City, Maryland, our main character, Radford, befriends Teddy, a fellow hip-hop enthusiast.
Do I like rap? Did you just ask me that? Of course I do. I catch the...
Teddy introduces Radford to the fun zone, which is where we meet our antagonists and romantic interests. Radford finds motivation to compete in a ping-pong competition and works with the mysterious Randy Jammer in hopes of getting the edge he needs to defeat Lyle at ping-pong.
What's this?
This is your new paddle.
The movie is shot on 16mm film, which I feel is so appropriate, especially for the montage scenes of the town. Look at this. There are a couple of maybe somewhat iffy bits of dialogue, but nothing too terribly crude, I would say. I was surprised at the twist on the family dynamic compared to normal films in the 80s, where the parents are, either oblivious or just disconnected. While you have your typical brother-sister spats and parental misunderstandings, there's a healthy serving of family love in this one. It is refreshing to see.
I didn't want to splurge, but your mother insisted.
The mom telling him how much she spent on that Nike tracksuit that's precious.
It was $37.
We'll take it out of your pocket money.
If you look up the synopsis to the 1981 film Vernon, Florida, you may read something like eccentric inhabitants of a small southern town share anecdotes and opinions. But that is definitely not what this film was supposed to be. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you read your insurance policy and get an idea that could change your entire financial life. You realize if you lose one of your arms or legs, you could collect significant amounts of insurance money. And now imagine that idea spreads to other people throughout the town, resulting in millions of dollars in insurance claims given to people who literally gave up an arm and a leg. The town of Vernon, Florida eventually gets the nickname Nub City and gains the attention of filmmaker Errol Morris, who went to the town to make a documentary exposing insurance fraud. But that all changed when evidence wasn't forthcoming and the townspeople threatened his life. He was so shook by this that the documentary we have today has nothing to do with amputee insurance fraud. The movie begins with a slow-motion shot of a bug truck spraying a route, accompanied by some low vocals and a warbly bass harmonica. Now, if you're from the South and if you're maybe a little bit older, this might trigger some type of memories, one way or the other. In fact, much of the town's backdrop reminds me so much of various places I grew up around, and the film itself seems to be nothing more than people carrying on about random things, like gopher turtles.
Now this here is a gopher. He's not a turtle. He's harmless, he won't bite you. I don't know just how come him to be way down in here.
Worms.
Then they got one they called a night crawler. Brought them down here and put them in a bed, little old bed I had yonder, and they all left. They crawl at night.
Or sand that grows.
See, now I had just a little bit of this in this jar whenever I brought it out, and now you see my jar is nearly full. It grows, it crawls.
Or turkey hunting.
I just ease that gun up real slow behind them pines and ease down. Yellow.
I think the turkey hunter is probably a lot of people's highlight character. This man, I've never in my life heard somebody more passionate about turkey hunting.
Anybody tell you they can call a gobbler away from a pack of hens just any time? Did you hear that?
When I first saw this movie, I remember being totally surprised at just how random the conversations were. Listen to this man talking about four-way coordination.
You are not a one-track mind. You're a four-track mind.
Now, I consider myself a connoisseur of personalities, accents, and things, isms, you know. And maybe that's why I like this film so much, because I will tell you, it's probably not for everybody.
That's four. In other words, it's five things.
Most may find it boring, but the whole idea that a man went to Florida to make a documentary about people removing their arms and legs to collect insurance money and ended up with a movie that's just shy of an hour's worth of this.
Every star you see up there, maybe it is a world. You know, I mean, it was made for some purpose.
Vernon, Florida, for me, is the strangest combination of endearing, entertaining, intriguing, and hypnotic Southern flavor.
You mean this is the real world? Huh? I never thought of that.
The first sound we hear is the beat of our mama's heart.
Adventures of Power is an independent comedy directed by and starring Ari Gold. He plays the main character of Power, who seems destined for a life at the factory, like his dad and everyone else in the town. But he has music in his heart that he expresses through air drumming. Now, somebody introduced me to this movie by saying it's a comedy film about air drumming. So, you know, that did not really sell it to me. But I took a chance on it and was absolutely surprised by the amount of heart in this film. The lack of local success and a strike at the coal mine set our main character, Power, off on an adventure.
Look out!
We get to cross the border into Mexico, where we learn there's an underground air drumming competition, which kind of reminds me of the illegal chicken fights that we used to have down south. And this is when Power meets Carlos.
You like drums?
A former professional drummer.
You used to be a drummer, didn't you?
Who, after a disabling accident, now teaches air drumming. Carlos is to Power what Yoda is to Luke in Star Trek.
Let me see if I can imagine that.
The antagonist of our story, Dallas Houston, played by Adrian Granter, is a young country star with a huge following.
I can do whatever I want. The world loves me.
Dallas also enters the competition against Power and his crew, raising the stakes.
That's what I'm talking about. You too tight to play right.
There's a handful of quirky and very likable characters throughout this movie.
What's wrong with Power?
You too tight to play right.
And tons of funny, off-kilter dialogue.
Yes?
Where's the pony?
Where's the what?
Where's the big devil pony?
The potty?
Good to see you playing real drums.
Real drums is the bomb, Dad.
When a movie can be funny without being super crude or super disrespectful or sacrilegious and that, and can actually have some heart to it, that's a rare thing. And that's why Adventures of Power is on my list. Speakerhead from Coalmine, the Boo, tells the story of a retired Speakerhead creature who originally served as the village warning siren. Speakerhead was the one who would tell the miners when it was lunchtime, and would also sound an alarm anytime there was a mining accident. The story centers around Speakerhead's search for friendship and purpose after his siren services were no longer needed. To further develop the story, the film weaves in flashbacks of Speakerhead in the prime of his service. And this is when we meet Coal Miner of Legend, who honestly, y'all, is such a cool character. Look at this. Coal Miner of Legend is a man where many degrees being to die with the coal mine return alive. Coal Miner of Legend is so skilled, he doesn't even use a pickaxe. Look, he mines with bare hands. So it's easy to see why Coal Miner of Legend is Speakerhead's favorite person, or Speakerhead's person of the yearning. It's during a battle with the mad dog of the coal mine that we get to see how capable coal miner of legend really is. But this flashback reveals the true cause of Speakerhead's loneliness when coal miner of legend is arrested. Speakerhead's loneliness is the catalyst that will drive him forward in this film as he searches for friendship and for meaning and purpose. And I have to say, you were in for a pretty wild ride. I'm not even going to try to explain too much more about it. I just want to address the subtitles. The version of this that I saw, which I'll share a link in the description, I had a viewer send this to me. Thank you so much. It has burned-in subtitles. To me, they are just as much an enjoyable part of the experience as the film itself. There's so many surprises in this film and wild characters. Lots of practical effects, practical creature effects, and the occasional use of computer-generated effects only enhances the film's peculiarities. Speakerhead is like I say, a strange one. You'll probably have mixed feelings watching it. Some combination of entertained, confused, disbelief, but overall I think you will find the primary characters charming. And there's also something to be said about a project that does not take itself too seriously. Crafsman recommends Speakerhead from Coalmine, The Boo. I have two serious questions. First, if anyone has actually seen all of these movies, which I kind of doubt it, please let me know in the comments. Or even just comment which ones you have seen. I genuinely want to know, because I picked movies that I thought were very quirky and rare. Second, do y'all like this style of video? I enjoy making documentary style videos, but that doesn't matter if y'all don't enjoy watching this style of video. So please let me know. Thank you so much for watching this. Until next time, I love y'all, and keep on steady crafty.
Church, where you going?
Well, I promised my mom I'd be home for dinner.
No. We gotta take care of this now before the sun goes down. It's gotta be light out.
But it's nugget night.
No, I don't care if... Seriously, you having nuggets?